brought to you by Ayoko, Africa's leading integrated technology services company. It's time for Tech Talk. Basically a done deal. The Competition Appeals Court is expected to give Vodacom and Remgro's 13 billion rand fibre deal final approval next week. This after the merger of the two fibre businesses was rejected by the Competition Tribunal last year. The about turn on the matter may open the floodgates for other deals in the country's telcos sector. Business Day's Mudiwa Gavaza joins us with his take. Mudiwa, thanks so much for your time this afternoon. And perhaps let's start with that Vodacom-Maziv deal and what happens from now. Is it a done deal? Are the parties still heading to the appeals court, as I mentioned?
They're definitely heading over to the appeals court. That still goes without saying. The issue now is that they go to that particular engagement unopposed, which means that the competition authorities, at least our understanding is that they won't be there, to oppose the motion, that the two companies are going to the court for, because up until now, it would have been an adversarial, type of engagement, with Vodacom as well as Remgro sitting there saying, we want to appeal, what these guys have suggested, what they have recommended. So they go on an unopposed basis. So that would at least increase their chances to actually get a ruling in their favor. And that would then, open up that ability for the merger to finally go through. Of course, we're not law experts, and there are others that might, give something slightly different. But for all intents and purposes, there's a much greater chance that this deal can now go through, and there's a lot of renewed hope that this thing will indeed happen almost 4 years later.
And we know that the Competition Commission's sudden U-turn is a welcome move for industry players and making, I guess, further room for deal making in the industry, right?
It really does, because a lot of people had been anticipating this particular transaction because it's no secret that in the telecom sector right now, there is a move towards consolidation. When we talk about consolidation, what we're talking about is a pooling of resources. It is joint ventures. It is mergers, such as what we're seeing now. But the basic underlying factor is that when it comes to, right now we're talking specifically around fiber, there is a thinking that, unlike in the mobile days where we saw the likes of MTN and Vodacom running around trying to cover as much of South Africa with their network towers and base stations, spending 10 billion rand a year each, on that competition, when it comes to fiber, the telecoms operators have decided that rather let's have partnerships in place, or let's at least pool our, different checkbooks together so that we can make this happen. So, for example, right now, when you look at Maziv and Vodacom, it's not a merger of their entire companies. It's simply a merger of their fiber operations to say, listen, fiber is expensive. We need to put it down into the ground. Let's join our checkbooks. Let's join forces. Let's make this happen.
And hot on the heels of that Vodacom-Maziv deal, do you expect the likes of, MTN to follow suit, perhaps MTN going back to Telkom's OpenServe?
Well, out of all the different companies that are in the sector, we suspect that MTN is probably the one that is most likely to pull the trigger, when it comes to some type of deal action. This is not to say that there hasn't been deal action, over the last, couple of months. We've seen recently it was Vox, their fiber unit called Frogfoot actually took up the fiber assets of, the American tower company, that's ATC. That's around 11,000 kilometers worth of fiber. A sign of exactly what we're talking about right now. We've also seen a couple of years ago, speaking of MTN and Telcom, when, that proposal came into effect back in 2022, the thinking was that that is what MTN was really after, because MTN is on record to say that they want to compete in fiber. However, they don't see it as being viable for them to actually go out and build their own fiber, right? Because the time that it's going to take for them to catch up to where Telkom is, to where Maziv is, just takes too much time. Even if you have the money, you can't discount the time factor. So they would be looking for deals. And if OpenServe for now doesn't seem as if they would be in the running, unless of course people have been sweet talking each other on the behind closed doors, and we
Yeah.
don't know about it. But for now, Telkom really seems focused on OpenServe as being the backbone of their businesses, especially that mobile business, which is growing very fast.
And, as we see the consolidation taking place, you mentioned that there's also been M&A activity with the smaller players, or rather the unlisted players in the space. Would that also be an acquisitive target for the likes of an MTN?
It probably would. I just spoke about the Frogfoot and ATC, deal that, happened recently. And one of the things that we, just looking at it from an analytical point of view, you think about what options are on the table for the likes of an MTN, right? If Telkom is focused on growing OpenServe on their own,
Yeah.
and Massive has already got this deal in place with Vodacom that takes your top two players out of the running. So if you're MTN and you really want to go out for it, one of the ways you can make it happen is to go out and club all of these different smaller players together. So we're talking about the likes of Metro Fiber, we're talking about the likes of Octotel, we're talking about the likes of Link Africa, all of these other companies, maybe even Frogfoot that we're talking about just now. And then you sort of buy them individually, and then you put them all together. In the alternative, you can have these smaller players working, to merge and join themselves. And then somewhere down the line, a bigger player like an MTN comes in and almost swoops in and buys, something that's bigger and more formidable down the line.
And another option MTN does have is, waiting the wave of consolidation and perhaps investing more in its fixed wireless access technologies. Can those assets compete with fiber? I'm thinking of even the likes of Rain and their penetration in homes as well as businesses.
One of the big things that's happening right now in telecoms, and I like that you bring this one up, is because the real competition that a lot of these guys are trying to win at is what they call in the home or in the business. A big thesis right now is that that's where you're really going to see a lot of the growth in data consumption and data use is in fixed use, where a person is sitting at a desk, a person is sitting in their lounge, is sitting in their house, and they're consuming, data in terms of meetings, in terms of, maybe you're running a website, you're running workshops online, you're streaming content, you're just sitting at home. So the home competition is quite big right now, and telecoms operators look at connectivity on a spectrum. You don't always have to go for one. Right now, fiber is considered, the most reliable,
Yeah.
the fastest, and possibly the cheapest. If you look at it in terms of bulk use of data, fiber is probably the cheapest. People look at the price tags on fiber, but remember that a lot of the time when you're looking at fiber, it's unlimited, right? You're not doing 1 gig, 2 gig. You're literally, it's unlimited, and people can use, tens, hundreds of gigs of data in a month. So it becomes actually the cheapest form. So yes, they are definitely investing in fixed wireless, and their big push right now as MTN is around 5G. They've actually been making a lot of noise around their 5G products, and being able to offer something that is comparable to fiber, but using wireless and mobile technology. They also have something that they call air fiber. That's there. So they are looking at all of these different ways as a way to compete when it comes to the home and the business.
All right, Mudiwa, thanks so much for your time and just joining us to take us through the dynamics playing out in the telcos sector. That was Business Day's Mudiwa Gavaza. Brought to you by Ayoko, Africa's leading integrated technology services company.